Hey everyone, it's David here. So I want to talk to you today about teaching your kid how to be an entrepreneur. And what inspired me to do this, I've been wanting to do this video for a while, is I've seen friends and family go into entrepreneur from very young. I've seen kids get college educations. I've known people under the age of 25 that have hit over $1 million pretty easily and effortlessly. And you've got to teach that mindset to be able to go forward. So I'm going to be giving you 5 key points to teach your kid to be an entrepreneur. Now there's probably 100 key points. And the most important one I'm going to put is the last key point, which is going to really surprise you. But do me a favor, before I get there, if you have not subscribe to my channel, I don't know what you're waiting for. Click the link below, subscribe, click the notification link. I give out freebies. It could be a free coaching call with me. It could be a free thumb drive, might be a surplus fun t-shirt, but I give out freebies all the time. So I'd love for you to be one of my lucky winners. First ones I would say would be goal setting and planning and having your kid be able to set goals of what they want to do. So it's really easy for me learning how to be an entrepreneur is to come into my office and I've got email, I've probably got some instant messages, I've got accounting to look at, I've got some bills that need to be paid, I've got some mail that needs to be go through. And when you work for yourself, all these things are piling up. But you've got to start looking at the vision of what you want to do, what works in your vision, how to manage your time instead of your time managing you. And if you could goal set, plan, and have that vision and start teaching your kids how to do that, and you're going to mess up. I mean, it's trust me, my wife would be the first one to tell you I'm not the expert goal planner. I'm not the expert in doing it, but I have gotten so much better at having a vision, having goals. What do I want to accomplish this week? What do I want to accomplish on Monday through Friday? What are some big projects that I've been putting off that I need to get done? What can be cleaned off in my workspace? That would be the one. So having your kid actually goal plan. What do they want to accomplish this week? What do they want to learn? Have some learning programs for them that they want to do and have that sense of accomplishment. That would be the first one that I'm going to say. And again, the most important one I am leaving for last. And these are hard to go in an order, but that's the first one I'm going to say. Definitely not the least though. The second one I'm going to say, and this is something where it's like, wow, like I remember when I was a teacher, I had the custodian come in and he was just telling me everything he wanted his son to be that he wasn't. I don't want him to have to work like I do. I don't want him to have to lift up heavy objects. I don't want him to do this. And I really like this guy. What's sad is his son is a custodian to this day, and that's all he does. Had no focus on education, okay? So kids are watching you, and they're watching your example. And it's okay. Like, I know people who haven't gotten an education and they stress you, and I think an education is one of the most important things to get in the world. So definitely, and I think sometimes education is undermined. I mean, I was an educator, and you obviously can pick your good districts and your bad districts, but if you never went to school and you want your kid to be educated, there's a way to show them, not just jump and yell at them, but sit down and do some homework, have them explain things to you, and really be part of that process. Because I've seen parents that do that, they give their kids responsibility. One of the problems that we have in our society today is a lot of our kids don't have guidance. And I'm not saying you have to be on top of your kid and make every decision, but you've got to teach your kid how. I mean, kids have to be taught. That's why they're kids. And I look at my son and my oldest, and he's very young, but there's times he reasons with me and he realizes things, and you've got to hold your kids accountable, and you've got to teach them, okay? And give them the ability to be able to make that decision. Another biggest one, and this kind of almost goes with goals, is I know that my kids love it when they accomplish something, but they have to have a sense of accomplishment. So even before school started, and my son, I'm not bragging here, I've had him on Khan Academy, I've had him on some other learning programs, learning how to be able to read, learning there's programs on learning how to code. And I give him something, and when he's starting to accomplish it, I give him something a little bit harder. He loves the sense of accomplishment. And then I say, okay, can you achieve this? And it's something that I know he could achieve, but it's a little bit harder than what he just achieved. And watching him grow into that, hey, Dad, I did it, Dad. And I love that. I mean, it's like, yeah, you did all right, buddy. They have to have a sense of accomplishment. And let me just say something. I just talked a second ago about education. I'm not here to promote it or rag on it. I do think education is important. One of the reasons why I wanted to get out of education, first of all, is because I was doing a lot of entrepreneur and I had the entrepreneur spirit. But secondly is from the top math class to the bottom math class, kids were being passed along that were not actually passing. And I saw this, the morale was so low. And when you move people without that sense of accomplishment, I'm not saying kids should be held back. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is there was no sense of accomplishment and it wasn't happening. And for me, it was hard because I had almost a 70% failure rate where I was. I did reports one day and I actually took it to the administration and sat down and just said, hey, what advice advice can you give me? These kids are not passing. I'm getting no work, no assignments, nothing from them. Here's their past. They've had, not only do they have multiple F's in their classes, but they have failed math in their previous classes. What can we do? And people need to have that ownership. They need to be able to accomplish something and own it and be able to move forward and have that energy going forward there. One of the biggest things that we could do, and I've seen this a couple different ways, you can teach your kid about money and budgeting, and that is absolutely huge. For me as a kid, I had money, but I had to go out and I had to earn it. And I bought my first Atari, I bought my first bike. I didn't really learn a whole lot about saving money, and that's taken me a while to be able to learn the importance of saving money. I know a guy who recently just passed. He had a Roth IRA. There's a saying that if you put $250 a month in a Roth IRA between the ages of 20 and 40 with the right company, and again, don't hold me accountable on this. I'm not a financial advisor. They're saying by the time you retire, you'll have over $1 million. But if you wait until later, it'll hit maybe half of that if you're lucky, or maybe a quarter of that. But budgeting, saving money, investments, invest in the right thing, about what you can buy with money, really teach your kids about money and let them budget. Like maybe starting them off with a salary, letting them start off by getting things. My oldest one day asked me a while ago, hey Dad, I want to get some cars. Can I do some work around the house and earn my way to get those cars? And my wife and I looked at each other and like our eyes got really big. Like it's like, wow, like he's asking, basically he was asking for an allowance. And I hadn't even that's something that's been on my mind. And yeah, it's been huge. So I've given you 4 different ways. If you take anything out of this video, I'm going to say you have to be a good parent. Good parenting is number one. I see a lot of families that have very little financially and they're the happiest families. I see a lot of families that are very solid financially and they're the most miserable. Now, I see a lot of families that are solid financially and they're very happy. And what's the difference there? First of all, you've got to be a mom or dad to your kid. You've got to be the parent that you're called to be for them. If you're not, you're really not helping your kid at all. Secondly, you've got to do things with your kids. And we take our kids camping. Now, we just did a trip on a flight. We went and we saw family, and my kids loved it. They thought it was the greatest. When we do the 3-day camping trips where we're roughing it, we're waking up, and we don't shower for a couple days, and there's this, the kids love that. My kids, and I'm not saying every kid loves it, but my kids love that. Or they love it when I go to the park with them and I go down the slides. Those little things add up. And they help out and holding them accountable, making them clean up after themselves. In fact, when my kids started kindergarten, one of the things that I appreciated about his teacher, and again, we're university, private school, university model. The teacher said, when you bring your kid into my classroom, I don't want you to take the homework out of the backpack and put it here. I want them to do it. I want them to put their backpack away. I want them to tell you what to do. And then she said one of the most important things, she said, I want you to initial their homework, but she said if they've done it wrong, she said, I want them to correct it, not you. She goes, I know you can do the work. I want to see them doing the work. And that, to me, is huge because kids need to learn, and it has to be a learning experience. And I love that. So going back to the good parenting, they have to see you being that good parent, and you have to, everything I just said falls under a good parent, but you have to be present. You have to be loving. I mean, and you're going to make mistakes. I mean, I remember one time with Noah, he wanted to really go surfing, and I took him to the beach, and I'm generally pretty friendly with people, but someone said, hey, you know what? I think you should really take him to the far end. It's shallow down there, and he'll be, I'm like, the waves are less than a foot. He's going to be fine. I'm going to do over here, and please don't tell me how to teach my kid surfing. My kid got out there on that surfboard, and he just panicked. He folded. And I had to get him out of the water, and now he's getting into it again. He's getting back on the board. And I told my wife, I go, I think I scarred him for life. He really wanted to do this, but and it's hard. I've made mistakes like that as a parent, but my kids love it when we're at the park and I throw them up. I go down the slide with them. I'll sit down. I'll play some cards with them. I'll do things, and I make time throughout the day. I've got to make them a priority in my life. I've got to be a good parent. Now, I also have a business. I've got a number of employees. I've been really blessed, and I have things to run. So I've got to be able to do that, and I have to budget my time where I can run the business effectively, and I can also be that effective dad. But what got me really, really going with this is if you listen to this, I was on a live Monday call a couple of weeks ago, and I got somebody right here. Now, Eduardo, go ahead, you're up.
Okay, lo están llamando una propiedad en Randolph Lane.
So I had a situation where I called a guy and he spoke no English. I needed someone to speak Spanish. And I'm putting on Zoom, who on this call? I had like 50 people on the call. Who speaks Spanish? Who speaks Spanish? And the first one to respond was Eduardo Rodriguez, 17-year-old, and this kid was incredible, communicated, and we went over the skills here of what he needed to do. Now, listen to a little bit on his story. I'll leave my chat up. I'm not going to do a screen share because I want you to be able to read what I wrote right there. And yeah, I mean, wow, this, I've put people up on the front lines before. Usually I have like Nancy Riviera or someone in the program, or like Renee or someone I know who's in the program that speaks Spanish. I didn't see any of my regulars that speak Spanish, and what a cool way to just jump in and
Yeah.
but you're
This is nice.
you're on training 101. Okay. So Eduardo, just curiosity, how old are you?
I am currently 17.
When I asked Eduardo how old he was, I was expecting to say 22, 23. I knew he was younger than me. You're 17. Are you going to be a senior this year, or did you graduate?
Yes, I'm going to be a senior.
Like, I had to get back on the next call, but I interviewed Eduardo. I talked to him for a few minutes. Told him if I'd been in where he was, I would totally take him and his family out to dinner. I don't see a lot of youth that are focused on business. So we live in the most free nation in the world. We can do any business that we want to do, and we get our kids going through school, through the system, and we teach them to go out and get a job. And that can be a good thing. I know I could name off person after person that's very happy at their job. They've gotten a college degree. They've graduated from like UCLA. I know one kid, he's like 23, been best friends with his parents for a long time. And they did really good. They got him into a junior college at 16, and he graduated UCLA by the age of 20 in financial services, worked for a bank, and now he's vice president of that bank. But what I'm saying here is you've got to, good parenting, it's going to fall under that umbrella. You've got to be a good parent. I guarantee you Eduardo has had some sort of direction. And I didn't ask him this, but it got me thinking, wow, because I mean, I want my kids to grow up to be independent. I'll say this, and then I'm gonna wrap this up. I know a family that's a surfing family. They live outside. They're from the United States, but they live outside the United States. And they went ahead and they started putting their kids up on YouTube videos on how to surf, how to first jump up on a board. Kids are like fully grown now. They would show how to put wax on a board. I know one of them has his own YouTube channel, and he's got, I believe, over 1 million followers. And all he does is he gets out and he shows how to surf, he shows how to bike, he talks about the tires and putting air in the tires and how to properly gauge them, or he talks about the surfboard or the wax to put on there, how to take them off, how to strip your surfboard. I mean, things he's going to do. He puts this on a video, stuff he knows already. So could you take a skill that you know, pass that to your kid, have your kid start doing educational videos? And YouTube channels, like I've been involved in a couple, they take a while to build up. I mean, they don't just build up overnight, but when you come across like an expert on a YouTube channel, and you know, like if anyone asks me, and I get asked some pretty serious surplus funds questions, and that's my niche. My niche is overages. I've done real estate. I could talk about that all day long, and a lot of people are, and a lot of people have opportunities out there. Then I get into surplus funds, and I've collected money from people that have funds that they don't know they have. People don't know a lot about that, and I actually give my real life experiences on how that's done. And for me, it's easy because it's natural. But people say, wow, I didn't know you could do that, or I didn't know how to do that. Now, I first learned to surf when I was 30, and this is a good analogy here that I'm using. It took me probably about a good 5 times before I actually stood up on the board. And I stood up for like 3 seconds and I fell off. And you're going probably like 35 miles an hour, something like that. You know, you're jumping up on this huge fiberglass foam board and you're trying to float. They didn't have the Costco foam ones when I learned how to surf. I mean, I was 30 a little while ago. I won't say how long ago now, it doesn't matter. But you know, you do this and you learn it, and it takes a while to learn it. Surplus funds is the same way. You jump in a business like this and it takes a little while to learn it, and it's an excellent business. It pays out very well, but you have to make this a habit and try it. And then, you know, you do the certain skill set. But when you want to get your kids into a business, especially in their youth, if you started like a certain social media and building it up and really taught them to be that expert and teaching them how to do this, when they hit a certain age, they're going to have a lot of decisions. Do I want to go this route or this route? I know how to do this. People are following me. And again, social media is probably going to be completely different in the next 5 or 10 years. But if you have those right blogs and followings and everything like that, they're going to be able to sell things and promote ideas. You need to teach your kid how to get in that mindset of being able to be the entrepreneur that they want to be. I know contractors that are very successful that go out and they do houses and they do carpentry work. I know painters that are very successful. And you teach them when they're younger, you get them involved in the field, you get them, like my youngest, whenever I flip a property, which I still flip occasionally, and it's more of a hobby, I make money, but I have people that'll bring me properties and occasionally I'll flip it. My youngest is so wrapped up in contractor work right now that a lot of times I'll have him watch and the contractor's explaining. He's the kid that's always picking up my drill, following me. Dad, I gotta drill this, I gotta drill this. Or if I'm working on something around the house, and I let him pick up my drill, I let him screw something in, and he loves that, and it's for him. Now, if he's gonna be a carpenter or if he's gonna be a builder, I don't know. But if he continues that mindset, I will point him in that direction where when he gets a certain age, he's gonna know everything about this. My oldest, he's really coordinated. He is interested in surfing and skating. I'll definitely get him involved in that hobby, but he's also really good with music, and I'm gonna get him involved, and I suck at music. I'm going to get him involved in the right people with music and see if that might be the route. And we're still deciding. Again, I'm not going to pick his whole destiny and say, hey, you're going to be a musician. But I'm going to start equipping him with tools now that when he's learning this at a young age, when he gets older, if he's truly talented in some of the areas that I'm seeing, this will become a natural business or habit for him. He'll get to see my business and what I've done and some of that and go from there. So I've given you a lot to think about here. Like I said, good parenting, that would be my number one. Getting your kid around the right people, getting them to see the right people. It's like me talking about with my kids, although I'm not naturally really good in their talents, I will get them with the right people on that and move them forward with there. So, hey everyone, I want to thank you for this. Do me a favor, if you've not subscribed to my channel, go and subscribe. Click the notification link below. I'd love for you to be one of my lucky winners, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.